grief, I feel like, is something that can be a very like transformative force, because it's something that only exists because, you had so much love for someone. So, when you're mourning someone and you're feeling bad about, missing them and all these things, like, that's like something concrete and tangible that you can then just assign to, like, well, it's because, this person impacted me so much that I'm feeling this way. And that can be a beautiful thing, kind of, especially compared to other things in life that can kind of get you down, that just feel like these intangible things. Like, grief is like something concrete that, you need to obviously give space to yourself to mourn and, be sad about it. But then you also need to tell yourself, like, okay, like, I'm going to set aside time for this, but I'm also, needing to move forward in life and try to honor, and cherish that memory of that person outwardly and internally, so that they can, kind of live on in that way.
Welcome to the Thriving in the Middle podcast. Believe it or not, I chose to spend the rest of my life in middle school. I've been teaching for over 19 years, and my primary goal can be boiled down into one task: developing human potential. My three favorite educational words are autonomy, agency, and authenticity. There's nothing more authentic than hearing about the realities of middle and high school life directly from the students who have lived through it. Whether you're a parent looking for perspective, a teacher trying to better understand your students, or a student looking for some guidance, this podcast has something for everyone. The goal is not only to help you survive, but to thrive during this complicated time of life. Ready? Let's thrive together. Today we're joined by Sam Hannig. Sam is a senior at GHS and is part of the 2026 graduating class. I had the pleasure of having Sam in my ELM classroom 4 short/long years ago. Sam's in the middle of his senior year. He is in the middle of his winter break, and so I am incredibly grateful that he is taking time out of his life and his downtime to come in and talk to us. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Mr. Browder. How's it going?
Man, it is so good. It is so busy, but it's so good. I feel like a lot's kind of changed since you were in this neck of the woods, but a lot is still the same too. So, all right, cool. You ready?
I was born ready.
Awesome. Let's jump into it. I have a podcast time machine. And so it takes us back in time as far as we want. And I would love to go all the way back to your kindergarten year. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right, sweet. So this is the first time that you decided to grow your hair out, and then you cut it all off, donating and raising money and awareness for St. Baldrick's. Is that correct? Did I say that?
Yeah.
Cool. And this is a charity that raises money for pediatric cancer. And so I'd love to just dig in and hear that story a little bit. Like, how did that start? As a kindergartner, was that like an epiphany, a moment you had? You're like, this is cool, or was there some nudging? I just like to hear the story and kind of hear what motivated you to do it.
Yeah, so when I was a young little kindergartner,
wee lad.
Yeah. I remember like seeing those St. Jude commercials on TV.
Yeah.
And they were just sad,
Yeah.
Like, and then I think I do like vaguely remember my dad asking me if I would be interested in doing like the St. Baldrick's thing, just because I think it was like an event in Columbus that they were advertising.
When you hear about people donating hair like that, is it typically St. Baldrick's, or are there several organizations that do that? Or
yeah, so one of the biggest misconceptions people have is that they like use the hair for like wigs or something.
Oh man, this is my misconception. You're gonna educate me. No, this is good.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Which is that's like locks of love or whatever.
Okay.
But this is just a separate thing where it's a fundraising event, and the head shaving is just kind of like the spectacle that they use to like get people talking about it and spread awareness.
Yeah, well, it's one of the big emotional moment. I mean, I'm speaking all of this from the outside looking in, but I can only imagine that it's one of the big emotional moments for a lot of people, because our hair is our vanity sometimes, and part of cancer is that you often lose your hair. And so raising awareness through like doing that alongside of other people. So St. Baldrick's is not donating the hair. It's just let's raise money because I'm going to shave my head to raise awareness for this pediatric cancer moment. And so you signed up. It was in Columbus. I don't know what the research is on when you can recall your first memories. I think it's around 5-ish kindergarten. Like, do you remember that moment, that event, like what that was like, what it felt like?
I don't know if I remember the first one. Maybe I mean, I have memories of doing it when I was younger, and yeah, it's just kind of a fun kind of vibe because it's like this tent. A lot of people are drinking, you know, because it's like at an Irish pub. So people are just in a good mood, and it's really nice to see everyone, you know, united around this cause. And you get up on like a stage, and like there's people there with, you know, the shavers, and they shave your head.
How many people would you say typically are there that shave their head?
It's a lot. The actual people shaving their heads, I'm not sure. Like maybe like 100. Like you get through everyone within the day.
Okay. Do you get to shave other people's heads, or is there like a shaver who's doing it?
It's like a team of shavers that go through and shave people's heads.
And has it been every year since kindergarten?
Yes.
Wow. I mean, that in itself, like the ability, it's so easy to miss a year in anything that you're doing, like something comes up or somebody gets sick, or so that's a pretty cool achievement. Any standout moment? Two things. I love the fact that you said it was fun, like in a moment of something that's so sad, like levity is what gets us through those things, I think. And so if nothing else, like offering people some levity in a serious situation and time, I think that's huge. Any standout moments along the way, like over the years of doing that were like burned into your brain that were like, this was a really cool thing, or a really cool conversation, or a really cool person that I met, or anything like that?
I would say it's just nice every year to do it, and like, you know, I'm very lucky that my family like comes out and supports, and even like my grandparents, and then just talking to other people who do it, or other people who have been affected by cancer and stuff like that, like just hearing their stories one-on-one like is really impactful, obviously. And
do you know why St. Baldrick's started doing it? Like what like how it originated? It's okay if you don't. I was just curious if there was like how that origin story was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
And then it goes to pediatric cancer. Do they give it to like St. Jude's? Do they give it to like, is there a specific place it goes, or is it?
I think it's for research, like
okay,
for helping find a cure and treatment, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it goes towards research.
How about coming back to school? I'm picturing like for second grade, like you leave with, and you kind of grow your hair out. Is that true? Like you let it get really long before?
Well, yeah. For the past couple years, I only get one haircut a year.
Okay.
And it's just getting shaved. So like right now,
it's
my hair is kind of long. Yeah. Because I haven't.
Is it coming up?
Yeah, in March.
Oh, okay, cool. Is there a way to donate? Like how if somebody wanted to support your St. Baldrick's journey, how do they do that?
There's like, it's online, so you can like look it up, or there's links. Yeah.
Cool. I'll throw the link in the show notes for on the YouTube channel. That'd be cool.
Sounds cool.
How about coming back? I'm just picturing, you know, why this is so hard for a lot of people is our vanity, like our hair, our identity. I'm picturing you leaving with hair and then coming back the next day to school. Like what kind of reactions I'm picturing for second grade, third grade? Like were your friends like, whoa, like what happened to your hair, man?
Yeah. Everyone wants to rub the bald head.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, when you're like a little kid, like you're not even super self-conscious. So it's just like whatever, and it's cool. And it was also really cool, like the teachers and stuff would be like aware of what it was and say just really nice things, which was nice.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. I mean, people, like other kids would get like freaked out or whatever, but it was cool.
Well, and kudos to your parents, because I love the idea of like lighting fires and following kids' passions. And it sounded like, you know, there was a imprint moment of watching those commercials, which they're burned into my brain too. Like they're so sad. And then your parents being like, hey, here's something we can do about it. And then the follow through of like, hey, like I'll take you there and we'll do this thing, and then doing it every single year. Kudos to them. That's pretty cool.
For sure.
Awesome. All right, cool. Speaking of deep passions, in order to do these, I often interview the parents to get some background for questions. And they said, you have a deep passion for literature and for reading as an ELA teacher. I'm like, yes. I'm kind of sad, if I'm being honest, because I feel like when I started teaching here 20 years ago, it was a
district that reads. I mean, it was just the norm that all kids were like reading books regularly and reading books for pleasure. And I'm seeing that slowly start to wane a little bit. Like it's much more, and I teach the 2 advanced sections of ELA, which you would think they're all readers. And it's even inside of those classrooms. Like I'm struggling to get kids to want to read and to love to read, and to read not because it's for a class, but I'm reading because that's how I discover the world, and there's great literature. And so I'm wondering, like, what's the sauce? Like, what's the secret sauce? Like, why do you think you're still passionate as a reader in a world that is like crazy and moving fast? And I think it's like we were talking a moment ago about the Instagram channel that I run for Media from the Middle, and I put all this time into writing the copy because it's where I can really tell the story of these awesome things that kids are doing. And I know that the majority, it's like I see the image and I like it, and they're not reading the copy. So why are you a reader?
Well, I think it's just important to have a very thoughtful and intentional relationship with what you read. And like you have to be intrinsically motivated. Like you have to be aware that this is something you're doing for yourself, and just find ways that you can relate and connect to whatever you're reading.
Why do you have that? 100%, like, say that again louder for the people in the back. But like, why do you think you have that relationship with reading? Like, where did that come from?
So I feel like just living in the modern kind of technological like hellscape, I'd call it. Like so many things are like, prying for your attention. Like it's so easy to get lost in the doom scroll of just, mindlessly consuming things.
For sure.
And like I think one of the greatest ways to fight back about that is just becoming more in touch with yourself as a person. And I think reading is such a great practice in empathy, because you're literally like walking into, the mind of this author or whatever story or message they're trying to put out. And that's like a real tangible kind of connection that can have a meaningful impact on you, as opposed to this content that most people, myself included, will spend hours, sitting through and basically rotting their brains away, which is a very much sounds like a pretentious old man answer, but
yeah,
I don't know.
No, it's so good though. I'm so critical of it, and I'm so guilty too. And so I'm glad that you say, like I do the doom scroll. Like I get caught up in it. My algorithm's really good at capturing my attention. And sometimes it's a lot of really cool stuff that I like bring back and share with my students. I think I'm curious, and so I think my curated feed shows me these like really cool things that often are like a student's working on this in ELM or a student's working on that in ELM. And so it is this really kind of cool blessing thing too. But it also like sucks at your time. And so you're 100% right. Reading is this intentional, quiet moment where it's you and your brain, and you're processing information in a way that technology just can't compete with. And I like that it was almost a selfish activity of, it's genuinely how you better yourself, like reading about other people and other experiences and what they've learned, and then, jostling and juggling that in your brain with what you already think, and then coming out either, solidifying like, yep, that's what I think, or I think about things a little bit differently. I see the world a little differently. So that's good. Good stuff.
I mean, books, like, you just got to read the right book. I feel like maybe that's kind of an easy answer, but it's true. Like, I feel like a lot of kids, just have this assigned reading where you have to like analyze it or whatever. But that can like ruin your relationship with what could be like a really good book if you just approached it from like a very personal, like, just read this and see how it makes you feel and connect with it in your own personal way.
And if you dislike the fact that things are being assigned to you to read, the way to combat that is to choose to read on your own, like the things that you want to read. I juggle this as an ELA teacher, and so I've tried to remove all like you will read this moments. Like I don't give a novel out like as a class. I don't like we're all going to read this together and analyze it. So I try to build the autonomy, because as soon as you tell somebody to read something, you've kind of ruined the experience to some extent. Like, and you can still, I think in talking about it, and if it's a really great book, you can get to like, oh, this was an awesome experience. But it is different. So yeah, choosing to read what you want. And for any teachers out there trying to give kids as much autonomy in that space and agency to choose what they're reading. Are you a fiction or nonfiction guy? If you like more than one or the other.
I'm definitely more a fiction guy. I will say the other thing with like assigned reading is like, even if you're assigned a book, like just read it for yourself. Like you can't be reading it for the teacher. Like there's always something to be gained out of anything you consume if you approach it with the right mindset.
Yeah, that's good. Make sure that's the lens that you're reading it through. And you can have the other lens too, because you're going to have to write a paper on it or analyze it. But making sure you're looking at it as like, how do I interact with this book and how does it serve me outside of the situation I'm placed in? Yeah, that's good. Favorite book, and you said earlier you're an old man answer. Your old man answer would be like, I only read nonfiction now. Like, so you're not quite the old man yet. So yeah, I think fiction gets a lot of bad press sometimes, and I just feel like it is this beautiful thing that, when done really well, can connect you to a book in a way that sometimes nonfiction struggles. So yeah, I'm a big fan of fiction. Your favorite book, if you had to pick one? And that's my son asks me this question daily about like, well, if you had, what's your favorite? And even if it's not book, like, what's your favorite? I'm like, I don't do favorites. So you could have a couple if you need to, but
yeah, that's an impossible question.
It is. It's such a moment of your life question too.
Exactly. Like I could probably spend this whole podcast like talking about books that like were kind of like anchor points for me at different stages of my life.
Is there a middle school book that maybe solidified your like love for reading or your ability to look through that lens of, I'm reading this for me, that middle schoolers listening should go maybe check out?
I think I read Slaughterhouse-Five when I was in middle school, and I read it on vacation, and it's a really short book and it's really easy to read, but it like kind of blew my mind. Like I remember finishing it and then literally just going back and reading it again, because it's like,
it's short but complicated, right?
Yeah.
Like thoughtful, complicated.
It makes you think a lot, and then for me, I like just wanted to go back and read through it because it's a lot at you.
I love that book too. It's kind of like Old Man in the Sea. I would throw in this boat too. But as an ELA teacher, we're trying to talk about like complexity of reading and making sure you're reading things that are challenging you. And sometimes a page number gets associated with that, which isn't in the real world necessarily a correlation causation. Like a really short book can be really complicated too. And I feel like it does a good job at that. Yeah,
and it's just funny. Like it tackles like really crazy like existential themes about like tragedy and just like your place as a human being and free will and all these things, but it's also like hilarious. Like it's a great book,
which maybe is a good like metaphor for how we should live life, right? Like
absolutely
try to tackle the big questions but have fun along the way.
And like that book just had a big impact on me because of the way it approached those themes and like embraced like the absurdity of existence, which I think is something we can all relate to, like especially in the modern age with like, AI and stuff.
The absurdity of existence. Absolutely. Yeah. Like there's so many absurd things in the world right now. And you have to laugh at them, but still try to find purpose. Yeah, that's good.
And it just blew my mind, like the way that book, like it like breaks every writing convention. It jumps all over the place. It was great. And then it was like kind of like a gateway drug into other books like that.
Cool. I like it. All right. So you're in a band, which I love. I wish if I could like wish something I wish every middle and high school student was in like their own band. Like, it's my secret dad dream is that, so I have a 4-car garage, and like I want one of those bays to just be my kids' band, and their buddies coming over and playing. And so we have a like pretty cool studio set up in the house right now, and both my kids like to play instruments. But that's my dream, is they're like, I don't want to be in the studio. I want to go out in the garage band. And I'll be like, yes, let's build it. So I love that you're in a band. This is another, I over to read this direct quote. Your mom described it as hardcore punk. And she said, it's definitely not my favorite type of music, but as parents, it's really fun to see him get to do something he loves so much, even if it means sometimes we let our teenage son go play at a bar that is also a laundromat on a school night. That's like a page from Parenting 101 rule. Like I would recommend every parent, like when that opportunity comes and there's a passion, like let them go play at the bar, at the laundromat, on a school night. So I love that she said that and she can recognize how important that is. I'd love to hear about the band. Like, how did it get started? Is it a hardcore punk band? What do you love about it?
Yeah.
The band.
The band.
What's the name?
The band is called Ocram. OCRAM.
OCRAM.
It's from a video game. It's kind of nonsensical.
Okay. I think band names are supposed to be.
Right.
Right.
It's but it's one word.
Yeah.
It's got some consonants to it.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Are you did like a lot of thought go into that band name, or was it just like, hey, this is gonna work, or was there like, we need a band name?
Yeah. So me, Liam Dunkus, and Nolan Gay, all Granville students, well, graduates, started like just kind of meeting up at Nolan's garage and jamming and just playing covers. And we were probably like that for like a year, like maybe 2, like with no like intentions of really, well, just the whole concept of like being a band and performing and stuff was like out of the question. Like we were just kind of doing it for fun.
It's kind of the entry point, right? It's like the rite of passage, like play other people's music and then.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was like that. And we never had a band name because we were like, whatever, this is just something we're doing for fun. And then we would start to like write, dip our toes into writing original music. And then we were like, okay, we need a vocalist.
Hold on though. What's that look like? Did you look at how like music is written? Did you just start writing stuff down? Did you like, was there like some backwards design in that, or did you just start writing stuff down and putting chords and music to it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we just kind of, well, okay. So one of our first songs was, there was just this Instagram video, of this kid like just saying some funny thing, and like we would recite it and just do like little jams underneath it, like just because it made us laugh.
So you used the clip inside of the
Yeah.
music that you were making?
Well, we would just like, those were the lyrics.
Okay,
like, just
but you didn't like. There's a lot of
video.
like Instagram accounts that will but this would have been way before this time. But they'll use like a clip and then they'll write music and they'll have that actual audio in it. But you were just using the actual lyric itself.
Yeah.
Inside of your song.
Just like another stupid way of making each other laugh.
Yeah.
Basically, and that's how we would write a lot of our songs early on. Like,
do you have that audio still?
It's somewhere on my phone.
Okay. Maybe
it's never going to be released.
Okay. So if you hand that over to me. All right. But could you get us a cut of some audio from like your band playing?
Yeah. We actually just put our tape on streaming and everything like yesterday.
Cool. Okay.
So just look up Ocram.
Is it on Spotify or where? Yeah. Ocram.
Spotify.
Shout
Apple
out
Music,
Ocram
everywhere.
on Spotify. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just go steal a cut from that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So wait. What were we talking about?
Yeah, so that was it. How did the band come to be? And then you tell us about it. And you were talking about how the name, and my son has dabbled in trying to figure out a band name. That's why I was asking. Like, so did a lot of thought come into this, or did it just like hit you and then?
So then Owen Costa joined the band as our vocalist, like 2 summers ago, and then we were like, okay, well now we're like an actual band. Like we need a name, and we kind of would like just talk about it back and forth, and we were like, let's just do something from Terraria, which is the video game it's from, because we all used to play that game, and it just made us laugh, like the thought of like the novelty of just naming our band off of this stupid video game.
It's awesome.
And then we were like, Ocram, that's like one of the bosses in the game, and so we're like, okay, cool, like that sticks. Like
how many songs is that? Your first like album, we'll call it, that you put on Spotify? Like how many songs you guys have?
It's like an EP. It's like 6 songs.
Okay.
We have more written, but we just decided to record those because they were like our best ones probably.
And we'll get into where you're going next, like later in a question, like, what does college look like and where are you going? But like, what happens to the band? Like, do you guys still play together? Do you are you going in different directions? Like, the band will break up because?
Yeah. Well, I think we're all pretty certain that we're all going to go in different places for college, and it does have like an expiration date. But I mean, we can't say that for 100% certainty,
Yeah.
So we all like kind of had to have a conversation where we were like, we're all just gonna keep playing in the band until we physically can't, because Nolan Gay, our drummer, is in the Navy right now. Like he left to go join the Navy. So
Yeah.
we got Max Holtzberry on the drums now.
Nice.
But that was like a point where we're like, okay, well, do we want to just stop or do we want to keep going?
Yeah, because it's something to bring in another to replace somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like that feels weird sometimes.
Yeah.
Bands have to juggle that for sure.
Mm.
And regardless, even if you stop recording, it's pretty cool that you made something and it's out in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
that was a big.
How many people can say they have an album on Spotify? Like that's pretty sweet.
That was a big thing for us, of like just pushing to get it out, just basically for what you were saying, like just to get it out there. And at least for me personally, like we wrote those songs a long time ago and they're super fun, but like I just couldn't wait to like exercise it out of my body, you know, like have it out there so then we can like move forward with writing other stuff and still have this as like a baseline of where we came from.
Yeah, it's like having to write something down to get it out of your brain almost.
Yeah,
and like you
absolutely.
needed to play it, get it recorded, and get it out there so you can like let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I think there's so many people that will look back and be like, oh, I wish I would have done more with music or done something with it, or they wrote songs and didn't do anything. And I don't want to call it easy, but the path to getting music out into the world is much easier now. Now it's kind of on, are you driven enough to do it? It's not about like money or like getting recording studio time or convincing a record label. You literally can get your music out, and so now it's on the human, the individual, to be like, are you gonna do it? Like,
Yeah,
do it. So I say the same things to both my kids have YouTube channels. They put a lot of energy and time into it, and we keep talking about it. I was like, it's not about views at all. Like, that's cool that some of your stuff takes off and people like it. I was like, but at the end of, and wherever you choose to stop doing it or you don't, you just get to look back and be like, I did something for multiple years and carried it forward because I cared about it. I was like, that's huge. Like, that's part of your story and your brand. Like, that's really cool.
yeah.
So,
Like being in a band is the most fun thing I've ever done. I agree with you. Like every single human being on the planet should start a band. If you have even the smallest, remotest interest in doing it, you should do it. Just like, meet friends that can play instruments. If they can't play instruments, make them learn how to play an instrument.
love it.
One of the greatest things about punk rock music is that it's really brain dead easy, stupid easy to like. The music is like there's no theory involved. You're just kind of and whatever sounds good. And yeah, like you're contributing to this idea of like an act of creation born purely from your own volition when you do that, which is so cool and so good for like the soul, I think.
Yeah.
And if you start playing shows and stuff, like there's a great sense of community there. And music like connects people, obviously. That's like the cliche thing, but it's true. Like you can make music and someone else will hear it. And this is something that's coming from you that then they're hearing and like, connecting with. And that's just super cool.
And bring it back to reading. I feel like that's the reading experiences too. It's just now musically oriented, that you bring your own life experiences to the lyrics and you get to like, the artist had an intention behind them and their life that they live that comes out of the music, but then you bring your life experience to those and interact with them in a certain way, and emotionally, it lands on you and has an impact, which is like a pretty cool experience. I love that you said like it doesn't matter if you play an instrument, like hand your friend a bass and be like, play this. Like start playing.
Literally.
Like whatever you can get it to make sounds, like let's do this. So I'll throw that out in the world. I've played guitar my whole life. I mean, I've had guitars like sitting around my whole life, and my two best friends when I was in middle school, Griffin and Noah. Griffin's dad owned a guitar shop in downtown Dayton, and he was on the radio. He was a radio host. He's called Shakin' Dave, and he did blues. Shakin' Dave Mondays, I think. But he owned this vintage guitar shop, and so my friend played guitar, and so I'm like, well, I need a guitar then. I guess I got to learn because we're gonna hang out. And then our other friend Noah played the bass, and they like kind of went on and made music, and we're like really good at it. And I was more interested in cars and didn't like I played the guitar and I still do, but I just dabble. So I never did the band thing. And a huge regret. Like I wish. So anybody out there, any of my friends that are listening, let's start a band. I have a garage. I have all the instruments already because my kids are playing them. It'll be fun for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's not about like being famous or like making music that anyone. It would just be about hanging out and playing instruments together, which is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Love that. Good advice. Go start a band, everybody. Cool. All right. So, speaking of passion, I have the Experiential Learner Mastermind class, and the basis of that class is asking kids and giving them time back. Like, what do you care about in the world? And then how can we be a change maker? You were in one of the earlier classes, like maybe my first year. I don't know if it was first or second semester. I had no clue what I was doing. I was just kind of making it up as I went, but I knew I wanted to like carve out a space where kids could do and work on what they want. I think I'm a lot better at it now than perhaps your class, but your class was awesome, and it was proof of concept that like, oh wow, look at these cool things that are happening. And so your project was taking over your dad's social media account on Instagram for Dave Felice. Shout out Dave Felice Pizza. Delicious pizza right here in Granville, Ohio. Shout out Dave Felice. And so you took that over, and the pitch was, I want to drive more traffic to their social media page, and then that therefore we should be able to track sales and see that there's an increase in sales in the pizza. So that was really cool. I was like, that's a really cool project. The stuff you created was so creative, and I'm sure like I don't know how you feel about it. Looking back, you're probably like, it was something. It was just really creative, and you were doing it with CapCut and your phone. And so that in my brain in the moment 4 years ago was like, holy cow, we're really missing the boat on media here. Like, we don't have kids creating this way. It's such an organic, real creative process. And so it's a pretty large piece of why Media from the Middle now exists here at the middle school. So in a moment, really quick plug of like the way you go through the world and how you kind of have an impact sometimes when you don't even know, like just by showing up as your best self and being creative and trying and doing cool stuff, fundamentally changed the experience that the rest of the kids will come through here and have this opportunity to create student-directed media, which is pretty cool. So having said all that, thank you. Kudos to being creative and showing up and making cool stuff, because that changed. It's one of my favorite classes I get to teach, so it literally had a imprint and impact on my life too, on how I show up at work and how excited I am to be here. Why the podcast studio exists, because if we weren't doing media, the ELM projects hanging here is cool, but if we weren't doing media, I wouldn't have had a reason to ask kids to write grants, and they secured all the podcast stuff, so that's pretty cool. So tell me about your ELM experience. Like, do you remember anything about it? Like, how did it feel to walk into a room and have somebody ask you like, hey, what do you care about inside the school day?
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. That's really nice of you to say. The class was super fun. Like, I remember that vividly. Yeah, me and Sebastian Rogers would just team up and think of the craziest, like, funniest, kind of stupidest things we could.
Which is, I mean, it's kind of ahead of its time in terms of media. Like, that's a pretty, like, roadmap for media now to, like, drive people to platforms and traffic. But, like, 4 years ago, social media looked very different. And so that was a pretty, I think, thought moment of how do I create media to drive traffic places too.
Yeah. And it was just so much, fun to be able to do that. Those videos are not online anymore because the account is gone, unfortunately. But I don't know. They're on my phone. But it was just super fun. I feel like it's so important to have like a space like that, especially if you're like in middle school, because that's just a tough time for any human being. I feel like when you're trying to figure out your identity and things like that, but like to just have a space for like passion projects, especially because like I feel like Granville, Ohio specifically, it's very academically intense, and there's a very competitive culture there of academia and other things. So to have like that space where you can pursue, whatever you're passionate about is like so super important, I think. Like, at least for me, it had a big impact of just like, I think the process of having time to do something that you love, and just, you know, the guidelines are what you make of it. Like, that's just so healthy and important.
It's kind of real world too. Like the real world doesn't structure your time out or give you a rubric or a syllabus. It is much more of a like, what impact can you have on the world, and are you willing to show up and do it? And I think sitting in that is complicated sometimes. Like a lot of students struggle early on to go like, wait a minute, I don't know, like what should I do next? And the willingness to put time into your day to go, I don't know, figure it out. Like, yeah, you have time to like figure out your next step rather than here's your next step. I think that's good. And I like that you mentioned the academic part. We have these portrait of a graduate traits. We try really hard, and I think we do a pretty good job weaving them into the content specific classrooms, but to genuinely flex things like resiliency and critical thinking and empathy and collaboration, I think there has to be like the passion moment. There has to be the like, I care about this thing in the day, not you care about this thing and are asking me to do the work, your work that you've assigned. I'm showing up and I care about this thing, and the school cares that I care about this thing.
You're so right. Like what you're saying about sometimes when you're sitting there trying to think of like, well, what am I passionate about? It can be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But you just have to think of it and like, just pick something that you like doing. Like, you're a 13-year-old kid. Like, this isn't going to define your life in any sense. Like, I feel like that's another thing you feel a lot of pressure of. At least I did at that age, is like figuring out your whole life or like what you're going to do for forever. But
which isn't real, right?
Yeah.
Like, but that's that. It feels that way, and you are kind of making these decisions that will start you off on a path and a direction. But the reality is, you'll probably pivot 4 times. Like, yeah, I don't know what the stats are now, but rarely does someone work in a career. I'm going on 20 years. I might be the exception, but even in that, I got to create other classes and I'm teaching different things. And you'll probably pivot. Like, this might not be the thing, even though you're going to have a degree in it. Like, what percentage of the world actually don't use their college degree in the job that they show up to every day? Like, it's pretty high.
yeah.
But it feels that way. So it feels like it's a lot of pressure.
Well, just I think also the process of doing something that you enjoy, even if it's not like, you know, my diehard passion for life, like that process will help point you in the right direction for what, you know, your next step should be. And that's how life, in my opinion, should be. Like, you should always be exploring other things and, you know, changing your goals as you progress. It's like, you know, staircase, like upward.
Yeah, I like that. And in almost every ELM project now, and you know, it's structured a little differently. Like, I asked them to partner with somebody out in the real world. I'm like, I'm not the guy. I'm like, I'm going to help you a ton, and I will move mountains. And I'm like, I'm pretty good at a lot of different things, but there's somebody out there that's lived in this thing that can really catapult your project forward. And usually when they make that connection, their project spins in a way that they hadn't even imagined possible. And so, like, I had a student who wanted to refurbish old bikes instead of, like, going to buy a new bike. Like, why aren't we riding some of these old, cool bikes? Which I'm like, I have a garage full of old bikes. So I'm like, yes, that sounds awesome. And so we partnered with Franklinton Cycle Works. And they, like, let him come into his shop, and they, like, tore the bike down on the rack and showed him. And then in doing that, he learned about their passion project. Like, this company, they have Cycle Forward, where they're trying to get $15,000 donated to donate 50 bikes. They're trying to raise $15,000 to donate 50 bikes to 2nd and 3rd graders who can't afford them at this pivotal moment where you should be riding bikes, and you'll probably ride bikes for the rest of your life. And so then his project turned into, like, making this bicycle a billboard for that charity, which wasn't his intent originally. But, you know, like you said, you stack these life events, things that you care about, and then you find other things that you care about or that other people care about, and it takes you off on journeys, which is cool. Nice. Cool. I like it. All right, so I've watched you in several plays. Unfortunately, I missed The Outsiders.
Well, you're in luck because that's coming up this winter, The Outsiders.
So it's not even, I haven't missed it.
No.
Oh, beautiful. So that's what you guys are working on right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
February 6th and 7th. That's
Perfect.
Actually the date.
I was kind of surprised because I go to most plays. Like, we thoroughly enjoy them, and I take both my boys and we enjoy them. And so I was surprised that I did miss it, but I haven't missed it. That's fantastic. So you landed Pony Boy.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's a big role.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I'm curious, like, how does like preparation for an audition work? And then maybe even like every time I watch those plays, I've never been in a play. I'm like, man, that's amazing to like get on that stage and interact with all these other humans in a authentic way and take, I'm sure there has to be some like, oh, this was a little bit off. And so I'm going to just go with it and change the line or the lyric and working together that way. Like, I'm always just like, this is amazing. How do you prep for that? Like, how do you, obviously you're going through lines and things, but, what's it look like to get ready for a play? Because you're in the middle of it.
Okay, yeah. So for the audition process, they announce what the plays are going to be a little bit before the auditions. So then, it usually involves doing a little bit of research and like seeing what the characters are, seeing which one seems the most interesting to you.
And that's just on you. Like there's not someone telling you, like very middle school world, I feel like it'd be like, let me tell you about these characters and I hope you want to, it's like, here are the roles and then you go find them. Like you find out about them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so a little bit of that sort of research. And then I'm super lucky to have a lot of great friends who also do drama. So we'll help with the monologues because then you have to learn a monologue to recite for the audition.
Is it character specific?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, you usually read a couple.
When you say they help you, do you like read with them? Do they like banter back and forth with you? They're like kind of poking holes in it, like saying, hey, try this or try that?
Yeah. So just like helping, at a very base level, like helping each other memorize. Like I hold the script while you say it and I'll say, this one was a little shaky, try again.
Gotcha.
But also like direction, like feedback, like, oh, I think you could read this a little more this way, or can you try this way? And so that's super helpful.
Shout out to a good group of friends. As a parent, it's my only wish for my kids is to have like a really good circle of friends. Like I know that Granville schools are great, but I know that the people they associate with are probably going to have the bigger impact on the human that they become, even more so as they get older than I can even influence as a parent sometimes. Like I'm going to do my best and they spend a lot of time with us, but I know that's huge. So shout out to your friends and a good creative group of friends who are willing to like read monologues with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty fantastic. My oldest son, like one of his friends in their circle just said, hey, let's come on over. Let's do a study session for midterms. I was like, that's so much fun. Like, that's so cool. I never did that until I was in college. Like, what a better way to study than with other friends who are in your class who are studying for the same thing, and they made note cards and they bantered back and forth. I just thought it was great. So like, yeah, find your good group of humans and lean on them and help each other. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another great thing about something like theater too, is like, even if I was completely, alone going into like this audition, like it's such a great community of people that are so eager to help you, like, and just welcome you into that sort of community as well.
What you need as a human.
Yeah.
Like we're communal beasts. And so, the drama department, band, orchestra, like these spaces and places where you can find your people. Like if you're looking for them, anybody listening, middle schoolers, and you're like, I just don't feel like I belong. Those places are pretty open-armed. You'll find your space or place.
Absolutely.
But you got to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Especially with like drama, I feel like, because that's such a vulnerable thing to get on stage and act. So people, see that, and there's already just like such a fundamental level of respect by just wanting to do that, that everyone shares.
I think everybody's like,
super
that's
welcoming.
so hard. Like,
yeah.
like there's this empathy moment of like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, let me support you because this is so cool what you're doing that you're willing to get up there. So that's auditions. You're reading monologues, and then what?
And then, you get callbacks or whatever, which is just you show up and you read, whatever the directors want you to read.
Could they steer you? They're like, hey, you were auditioning for Pony Boy, but I'd really like you to read this or that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very common. Like you audition for one part and they end up casting you as another. This is what they always say. It's like casting a play is like a puzzle, and like everyone has to be the right piece. And sometimes it's not the piece that you wanted, but it's like the piece that the show needed that, you know, you're going to do great in.
And that's the job of the director,
Mhm.
is to like find the spot
Yeah.
where you'll shine in
Yes.
this moment. And so you're called back for Pony Boy, and they like you get the spot. Do they like post that? Is there like a
Yeah.
You
Well,
can, like,
when
see
you
it,
do
or-
callbacks, okay, so like for my callbacks, I only read for Pony Boy like a couple times. So you go into callbacks like not knowing what they're calling you back for. You can sometimes get an estimate, and then they'll have you read a bunch of stuff. So oftentimes you
so
walk
there's no
away
prep
from
for
callback.
that because you don't know what you're showing up for.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So in that way, it's kind of nice because it's like you don't feel as much pressure
Yeah.
as a normal audition where you're like, oh well, I have to be memorized and blah blah blah
Sure.
blah. But yeah, then you do that, and then they post the cast list, and that's when you find.
Is it
out
on
what
like a
you
board?
get.
Like
Yeah.
there's people like looking to see.
Yeah, well, there's the board, and then they'll also email it out.
Okay. So how do you find out? I don't know. There's
I-
something fun about like everybody around a board looking, but it's probably an email first. in
Yeah.
our digital
Well, for
world.
the outsiders, they wanted to do it after school. I'm pretty sure, like on a Friday or no, it wouldn't have been. It would have been like a Thursday or something. Anyways, they did it after school because they didn't want, you know, everyone crowding around, and then if there was disappointments.
Sure.
So I was actually in the car on my way to a concert with a bunch of my friends. Like Max and Owen were there, who also auditioned for roles, and we all found out by opening the email in the backseat of the car together, and
That's
it was
cool.
super exciting and cool.
And then is there the prep for the actual play? Like you now know your Pony Boy. Is it a lot of like memorization of lines and then, you know, obviously practicing it with the other actors, or is it like what does that look like? Are you still just running lines with your friends to try to like memorize them?
Yeah. Okay. So for Pony Boy, like I went back and read The Outsiders. I watched the movie. I've read through the script a bunch of times. The actual production process doesn't start until we get back from break on January.
Okay.
But because this is such a behemoth role that's so outside of my comfort zone, like I'm going to try and have as much of it possibly memorized as I can, like beforehand to get a head start.
Yeah.
And-
Is it more memorization or more understanding the plot, like knowing the story so that you know what comes next, or is it like, I don't know.
Well,
Does that make sense?
yeah, it's kind of like a pyramid. So like at the very base, you need to have your lines super well memorized.
Mm.
And I would say it's smart before you start doing that to like really, like you said, like get an understanding of the story and how the characters progress and everything. And then you can get like nitty gritty, like each individual lines. And then once you have that like baseline memorized, like you're just able to run through it. That's like, I think when you can kind of start placing like emphasis and emotions, and that's what the director will give you notes on.
Is your memorization in chorus with the other people who are taught? Like, are you? I feel like you almost are like memorizing the whole play because you need to kind of know what comes before your line to where you deliver your line, or is it not? You are mostly sort of memorizing your lines.
Yeah, you're right. For this role, I'm gonna have to basically memorize the whole thing because you have to know cue lines, and a lot of it is so conversational. Like you pretty much have to learn
Do you memorize
everything
easily? Like, is that something that comes naturally to you, or is that?
I don't know. It's definitely something I have to put in work in. So, you know, Quizlet, flashcards, stuff like that. Again, having great friends comes into play when you can help each other just read lines and stuff. I don't know if I do it. I always feel like I underestimate my ability. Like I'll walk on stage feeling really nervous or something, like when we're practicing, and then it's like muscle memory almost in a way. Like it just sort of happens without thinking. But I think that's just because, you know, if you drill it into your head so much, it does become like muscle memory.
Yeah. And then after you show up and act it out, now it's like a part of something you've done.
Yes.
I mean, it's like it has to a follow-up just as far as acting in general. Is there anything that like being in drama, taking on roles of other human beings? I mean, this is kind of back to our conversation about reading books, like the building of empathy. Like, do you feel like that's had an impact on who you are as like a human and the way you kind of the lens question again, look at the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say like if you do drama and you do acting, it's like this super the superpower of social awareness that
Mm.
you have the opportunity to do, because you're literally like stepping into the skin of some other character, which is like, if you think about the concept of empathy, like that's literally the most extreme form it can take sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's also just good because, you know, you're being suddenly very conscious of how you carry yourself and how you say these things. And yeah, it's like, well, why? Part of acting is like, what is driving this character to say these things? You have to think of, you know, their goals and their objectives. And yeah, that's like an exercise in empathy. Absolutely. That builds your empathy muscles when you're analyzing characters like that.
It's like the movie Inside Out. Like you can't just understand the line that comes out of their mouth. Like you have to like go inside and talk to all their subconsciouses and understand, you know, like what's the motivating thing behind what you said and what did it actually mean, and then how does my facial expression match or not match probably what I actually said because I'm feeling something different. Or you know, it's why I love reading, in that it is practice at empathy if you do reading well. Like if you're truly reading it to understand these people and humans. And so, yeah, like you said, that's a hyperdrive superpower on steroids version of that, because you literally have to become, if you're going to do it well, if you're going to be a good actor, like you have to become that person and have gone through the emotional trauma of feeling what that felt like. And so you can't walk away then not imagining what this person's feeling like, or that person.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of carry that with you a little bit as a superpower. That's cool. Okay, it's coming up when?
February 6th and 7th, I believe.
February 6th and 7th. All right, look for tickets. All right, so shifting gears. Sad to say you had to say goodbye to a really close friend your junior year. I did not have the pleasure of getting to know Elliot personally. I didn't have him in class. So because of that, I'd love to just start by, can you tell us, and this is a big question to wrap up an awesome human being in a short moment here, but what is it that made Elliot awesome?
Yeah, I mean, like you can't really put that into words, I guess, but he was just the best. He was just a person who was so like just vibrantly like alive and like just overflowing with so much love and passion for living, and just like, you know, being everyone's friend, and just so supportive and amazing, and just an exciting guy to be around, who was so bold, like even like just in his sense of humor. Yeah, I love him so much, and yeah, it's hard to put that into words.
Well, I think he did a nice job. I hope a human says something nice about me like that someday. Yeah, I unfortunately know that people who are listening to this podcast will experience trauma in their lives. Like everybody has to say goodbye to people. I love the fact that I see all those things you described in you too. And so I think there's moments where people live on inside of other people. I see that like just vibrantness in you, and this like energy and alive light shining out of you. And so I'm wondering if you can help listeners who are going to have times in their lives where they're struggling and dealing with saying goodbye to somebody navigate that. And as I say that, I know you're navigating it. Like there is no timeline to that. But you found some light, and you're bringing light to the world still. And so how do you begin to navigate that, and where do you start?
Yeah. Thank you. That's really nice. I would say like when you lose something like that, like when you go through such a substantial loss, like it can feel entirely hopeless. But you just have to kind of stare that in the face, like recognize like your life is never going to be the same. Like this isn't something you just get over.
Yeah.
It's something that you have to just change alongside, in a way. Like grief, I feel like, is something that can be a very like transformative force. because it's something that only exists because, you know, you had so much love for someone. So, you know, when you're mourning someone and you're feeling bad about, you know, missing them and all these things, like, that's like something concrete and tangible that you can then just assign to, like, well, it's because, you know, this person impacted me so much that I'm feeling this way. And that can be a beautiful thing, kind of, especially compared to other things in life that can kind of get you down, that just feel like these intangible things. Like grief is like something concrete that, you know, you need to obviously give space to yourself to mourn and, you know, be sad about it. But then you also need to tell yourself, like, okay, like, I'm going to set aside time for this, but I'm also, you know, needing to move forward in life and try to honor, you know, and cherish that memory of that person outwardly and internally, so that they can, you know, kind of live on in that way.
I love the idea that you said, like, love comes from, like, grief comes from love. And like, we have to control how we frame the experiences that we have in our life. Like, that is a choice. We don't get to control how things happen to us, but we do get to control how we view them, like the lens that we look through. And I think that's a really wise and powerful way to look at it, is that, you know, you can't have grief unless you had absolute, like, love for someone on the front side of it. And so when you frame those and put them together, and to your point, very, very important, like, sit in your grief, like, you don't have to run from it. And then, you know, try to remember, and beside that grief, put the love that you had, because you couldn't feel that grief if you didn't have some awesome experience with another human being. And that is very concrete. There's a book that's on my shelf over there. It's a fiction book, but it's in the other room, but it's called Everybody's Life Begins with a Tragedy. And there's something very real to that, and what you're, you know, as you're talking about sort of this touch point in your life of something concrete. And the premise of the book is that, you know, there are these touch points throughout our life where it reshapes entirely the way we view the world. Like, we're no longer the human we once were, because we now have this experience that shapes the way we see other experiences moving forward. And there'll be, like, multiples of these throughout your life. But losing somebody, tragically, the grief, the love, like, all of that now becomes a lens that you reshape and reframe how you experience everything else. I'm curious, you know, do you feel like you're a different human? Like, do you see other experiences? Like, you say that this is concrete. Like, for me, I feel like it would change trivial things. Like, you know, like, you understand what actually matters in a profound way, unfortunately, in a way that somebody who hasn't experienced loss or grief might not. Is that a fair?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I never really thought of it like that, but I would say that I definitely do feel like, experiencing something like that is insane. Like, it literally flips your entire, like, the most fundamental aspects of what you believe in your life, like, completely on its head. Like, it forces you to just, like, completely re-examine everything. So yeah, I would say, nothing can prepare you for that, and there's nothing like it. And yeah, it does kind of change the way you view the world, I think.
And I asked in middle school, I lost my sister, and so there was this, you know, speaking of superpowers and a gift, the relationship and the time that I had was the gift, and then moving forward, it became, and I say this out loud, and I offer you this as well, because I think it is this that comes out of it. It became a touch point to where things that would upset other people, I'd be like, oh, that's not it.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't matter. Like, and so it reshaped. It was a gift that she gave me that I still carry as a dad now, and as a teacher, that I go, like, that's not it. Like, that doesn't matter. I'm not going to get worried about that. I'm not going to get worked up. Where, you know, people who haven't experienced real loss and grief still can kind of, I think, sometimes get worked up about things that I'm like, man, that's not the thing. And so, you know, when I think about that, it's like, it reshaped the way I experienced my entire world moving forward, at a very young age, unfortunately. Beautiful. Perfect advice. Live in your grief, find the love inside of it. And then I love that you're shining lights all over the place. I said we've made these like slides of you in Media from the Middle, and they genuinely make me so happy to see on the TVs. My boys talk about you when we left, the one football game, and watching you perform on stage with the band. It's been a gift, and so I'm glad that you are processing it and that you realize that Elliot would want you to continue to bring the light and the love in the world. And yeah, good stuff. Thank you for talking about that and sharing it.
Yeah, for sure.
And just grieving with people, like, do you have any insights? We've talked about your friends so much. Like, I feel like we'd be remiss. Like, I can only imagine that this has been a circle of grief with other humans that you care about. And is that accurate? And how do you leverage or lean on that part?
Yeah. I mean, my friends, like, that was something we all were united in experiencing, because, he was kind of part of our little group, and we were all just very close. And I think having, like, I don't know where I'd be without those guys. Just to have that support system of, like, shared grief, but also, like, shared memories, and being able to talk about him in that way with other people is so important, and I'm super grateful for that. And yeah, like, you can't just experience those things like in a vacuum of yourself. Like, you have to, talk about it with other people and process that outside of yourself, because otherwise it's just weighing down on you, I feel like, which can be very bad.
Yeah, it's too much to keep inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, we're gonna shift gears. These are questions that we ask every guest. They're kind of designed helping middle schoolers navigate kind of the next 6 years a little more intentionally, so that hopefully maybe they can glean something from your experiences. The first one is a little time machinist, but if you could go back and tell your middle school self anything that would have made navigating middle school and high school a little easier, what would you go back and say?
Okay, I would just say, like, this is kind of a tough question. I would say I would tell myself that, like, your hard work that you're putting in now is worth it. Sometimes it's, you get caught up in doing all these things and you're like, well, what's even the point? Like, whatever. But it does pay off. Like, the more hard work you put in earlier on, the more you'll see that success. On the flip side of that, I would also, like, tell myself, like, it's okay. Like, you're doing good. Like, you're doing the best that you can, especially, like, what I was talking about. Sorry.
So do you want me to leave that in or cut that out?
Yeah, keep it in. I don't know.
I love it.
Sorry, guys, if that grosses
it's
you out.
It's my fault. I gave him a carbonated beverage. That's on me.
Yeah, I would say don't be so hard on yourself. It can be tough out there. Not even out there. Just, I feel like we're our own greatest enemies.
Yeah.
Especially in the social media age, where I feel like so many people exist from, like, a third person perspective of themselves, where, you can't help but compare yourself and your achievements to other people and what other people are doing and what everything looks like online.
So, okay. Do you think that's a bad thing, or is that a good thing? And that's a loaded question, but, like, is it a good thing to look around a room and kind of size yourself up, or do you think that's a dangerous?
I absolutely think it's good in moderation.
Yeah.
I don't think, I think it's super easy to lose yourself in that, especially if you're younger.
Yeah.
And trying to figure everything out. Your, sense of identity can become very dependent on, how you feel you look like compared to other people.
Yeah.
Which I think can be dangerous, because you have to, like, in my opinion, have a sort of self-sustainability and believe in yourself and know that, like, it's just kind of silly to compare yourself to other people and base your value off of that, because everyone's life experience is so individual and success looks different for different people.
Yeah, it's like, because I asked, and I juggled this conversation with my middle school students, because I asked them occasionally to like look around the room occasionally, like how do I stack up, and not how do I stack up in, my grades or these like maybe artificial markers that aren't really indicators of success, but how do I stack up in how I'm showing up? Like, am I showing up as my best self? And I heard that duality in your answer. The first part was like, man, put in the hard work, like show up and do the things. But then at the same time, like have some grace with yourself that if you show up and you were doing the hard work and you feel like you don't stack up yet, it's okay. Like this is a marathon, right? Like this is not a sprint. These next 6 years will be a blip in the radar of your life. But you still want to show up and do the work and give your best, and then be okay with whoever that person is on the other side of that, like whatever it is.
Yeah, I would say it's important to surround yourself and build meaningful relationships with people who like embody values that you personally align with and want to achieve yourself. So like, I think just like being around good people and people you want to emulate is how you internalize that, and it's a self-sustaining system, because then you have a good friend now as well.
It's the old adage, like you become the 5 people, right, you spend the most time with, which is, it can't not be true, right?
Yeah,
that's good. Cool. All right, second question. What's something that you didn't totally appreciate in your middle or high school years, but if it's in high school, looking back, it's not that far back, but still looking back, you can be like, you know what, that was actually pretty great.
Yeah. This was a tough question. I don't know. It was hard for me to think of something that like, well, I'm the first thing that came to my mind when this was asked was like, as I grow older, I think I gain a deeper appreciation for like the staff here and just like how much everyone cares, and truly like how lucky we are to have such a good program and with teachers who are passionate about what they teach and also care about the students so much. And yeah, that's just so great for, education, but also building character and respect and all these other things, like as a human being. Like that's so great and so important, and you don't have that everywhere. So that's something I'm super grateful for.
I think if students can wrap their brain around that and just accept it as a truth, it becomes easier to show up as your best self too. Mm-hmm. I think, especially at a younger age or middle school is a tough time. But you can vilify people sometimes, or you can make them out to be something that they're not. And remembering that literally every teacher got into education because they wanted to spend the rest of their career helping students become the best version of themselves that they can, even if you don't like their methods or something that they did. And maybe if there's the oddball off teacher that truly is just unhappy and making life miserable for students, you get to choose to still see it differently, which is going to help your mindset and the way you approach life. And if you can do that, I think it becomes better and easier to build relationships with teachers. And then that, I think, just as catapults forward the whole experience in general. So yeah, that's it's a good perspective, and it would be one that I offer all students, is that like literally we're all just here to help because we enjoy learning and we're curious, and we want to help students become, whoever it is that they're put on the planet to be. It's a good mindset. So cool.
Yeah.
How about stress? So you've had profound stress and unfairly at an early age in some situations and circumstances, and then you're also juggling just normal stress, and you're involved in a lot of things. What have you found to be a good go-to to juggle stress to help you come back as your best self when you're feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah. So on like a superficial level, I'm like a big list guy, Like if I'm overwhelmed by a heavy workload or just a bunch of stuff I need to do, like writing out a list, or what I do is like I open the notes app on my phone and they have it so you can make like little things that you can check off.
It's satisfying. And then it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Google Docs will do that too. And I just offer this for middle school kids because they're not allowed to necessarily have their phones. But I think, I'm trying to think who it was a student from, I think, around your I'm trying to think who I stole it from, but I saw it on their screen and I was like, what is that? They're like, well, I just create this Google Doc and I list them out with the check boxes because I like when I click them, it line items it out. And I'm like, yes, I accomplished something. So you can do the same thing in a Google Doc if you don't have access to your notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in my experience or my opinion, a lot of stress is about just like getting it all out so you can see it from like an objective point of view. So for me, yeah, it's like you list out everything you need to do and then, okay, well, what can I do that's the easiest and most immediate thing, and then just have it checked off. And it's like, okay, awesome, I checked this off. And then that kind of helps me get into a flow state, as they say, you know, of like just, okay, well, now I can do this and blah, blah, blah,
I did
blah.
2 things. Now I'm going to do 3 and 4
Exactly.
and 5. Yeah. That's huge. That is probably the number one thing. This will be the 21st episode that I've done. I hear that all the time about like them. Just everyone says like, oh, I just had to start writing things down. Yeah. And it sounds so simple, but just getting it out of your brain and getting it onto a piece of paper and then having sort of, now these are my marching orders, and it feels so good to then cross those things off. Even if you kept them in your brain and you juggled all that, which now you're like stressing your brain out and holding on to these things that you don't need to, and you're like, oh, I can't forget it, so I keep going back to it and I spiral and keep. Even if you hold them in your brain and you accomplish a task, it's not nearly as rewarding because you can't mentally like check it off. Yeah. So like literally I will sometimes write things down on my list that's to start that I already did. Like I'll put like 3 things that are done that I did before I started making my list, just so that I can be like, yes. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, holy cow, look at that. Look at all that stuff I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good.
Another thing I'd say is make sure your pyramid of needs is being met. Like, if you're feeling stressed out.
Maslow?
Yes.
Are you? Oh,
yes.
I love this. Yeah.
Okay.
I draw this out for my middle school students every year, and I will bring it up multiple times. Usually it's in a read aloud that I'll do with students, because it drives a lot of bad decisions sometimes, you know, because that bottom tier isn't met, and so you'll do anything you can. So cool. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Go.
Okay. If you want to accomplish anything in life that satisfies your emotional or intellectual parts of your brain, you need to make sure that your physical self is taken care of first. So, you know, when you're stressed out, ask yourself, okay, am I hungry? Like, have I eaten good today? Am I well hydrated? How much sleep did I get? Oh, not a lot. There you go. Huge. Sleep is so important. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. If you're listening to this podcast and you just want to take one thing away, just get 8 hours a night.
It's hard because it seems like the thing you can control. You're like, oh, I have these things that I have to get done, and the only space I can control is doing less sleep. But then it makes your ability to accomplish all the other things while you're awake lessened, and you're not going to be your best self. And so don't compromise your sleep. It's huge.
For real.
Yeah.
I think the earlier you can like nip that in the butt and not get into the habit of procrastinating and staying up super late, going into high school, like that will put you ahead so much. It's so important to get good sleep.
And you know, I listen to podcasts, a lot of high achievers, a lot of people who are out in the world doing really big things, and it is their non-negotiable. They're like, I will not like jeopardize my sleep because I know it'll have ramifications in all the other aspects of my life. That's good. All right, so you got to have those things in check before you can move up. And as a teacher, I'll say, like, I understand too, you know, up from like food, sleep, and shelter are these relationship moments. And so, you know, you do have to sort of tend to those relationships. I know that if something is blowing up in the hallway and I don't want to, I'm at all not diminishing that friendship. Like that is like huge. It's their relationship. It is their like human interaction with another person they really care about. If that is blowing up, I know that they can't come in here and care about ELA things or about, you know what I mean? Like, cause that hierarchy is disrupted. And so they can't function up here at an existential, like, you know, wondering these big questions intellectually if something is going on in their life. And so as a teacher, it's a good reminder for me. I try to like constantly think about like, there's a lot going on in the lower tiers in my students' lives that I can't control, but I can make space for them in my classroom. And when you go out in the world and you, again, empathy, look through a lens, it's really easy to be critical of people making bad choices. But when you start thinking about Maslow and the lower like rungs of hierarchy, they don't know where their next meal's coming from. They can't pay their rent. You start to like understand why people are making choices that they are in a more empathetic way, I think.
Yeah.
It's good.
For sure.
Cool. All right. How about technology? So, your class would have had Chromebooks issued in middle school. Is that
Yeah.
right? You were 1-to-1 then. And PCDs, new term that came out. You got social media, you got all these things that are capturing your attention. What's your relationship like with technology? How do you juggle it? Any tips, any kind of takeaways?
Yeah, I think my relationship with technology is torturous and evil.
Yeah.
I think just because social media and all these things, like these are literally systems built to create this like digital version of you that they can then, get these algorithms tailored to you so that you literally like it hacks into your brain and you can't put it down.
Yeah. There's and for people, middle schoolers who maybe haven't done a lot of thinking about this, there are literal teams of people sitting in rooms trying to figure out how they can develop algorithms to capture your attention, because that's how they make money. And so every time you interact with a piece of social media, just understand that it's not free. It's giving up your time. Like, you are the commodity.
Yeah.
Like, you are the thing that's being sold. And it's okay to do in moderation and curation. But it is not a free activity, and you are giving up a piece of yourself and your time it's the number one. I talk to my Yalem kids about this. It's the number, whenever we have like a guest come in, I'm like, guys, they're giving us their time. Like, it's the number one commodity. Like, you can be as rich as you want. You can never buy back more of your time.
Yeah.
There's a finality to that. And so understanding that relationship, and that literal people have designed things to capture your attention without you knowing it even, and without your control.
Yeah. I recognize that this is extreme, and obviously it is more nuanced than this, but it's like your life force is actively trying to be drained away by, whatever XYZ corporations and just technology systems. Like,
As you
it's
say
just
that,
bad for the soul.
I'm picturing like my soul sort of being sucked into the phone as I use it. Like, there is a draining of a battery, and there is a draining of your battery. Like, there is, it's literally taking a piece of you. I don't think that's dramatic. I think that's kind of by design how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's evil, but I say all this, and I have like such a high screen time.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Anything intentional you've done to try to combat that?
Well, of course, I do the time limits and those apps you can
Do
get.
you hit the ignore?
Yes,
Ignore time.
every time. I think I did that this morning.
And then I get mad when it shows me my time. I'm like, oh, don't show me that. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the first you just have to build a conscious, intentional relationship with it. That's like the first step. And then, because then even past that, it can be hard. But once you kind of recognize like that it is this thing that is literally does not have your self-interest in mind at all, and is just sort of a bottomless pit for your attention and feelings and stuff like that, like I think then you can recognize like, okay, well, I'm gonna go devote my life force to other more productive things,
like a garage band.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I love or being in a play with other humans watching this experience, like, so I like to tether those things together when you think about like spending hours on a device digesting content that was potentially aimed at just keeping your attention versus interacting with other human beings who you really know in the physical world. Choose that as much as you possibly can. And it's funny because here we are, I'm making a podcast. The only way that it goes out and reaches people is if I capture their attention and time through a technology device. But know that the curation of that and the intent behind it wasn't about, like, there's no money involved. Nobody's making money. I'm literally just trying to pass a human experience on to another. And if you curate what you're accessing on your device in that way, like, intentionally, I'm going to let these things in because they're literally designed to help me rather than to utilize my time and attention. I think that's a good way to approach it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the internet is like the greatest tool. Like, the invention of the internet, like, literally reconfigured like everything, like how we interact with the world, like the very nature of information, which is, I mean, insane. And so as much as it has the potential to be this amazing thing, if you're not proactive with your use and thoughtfulness towards it, it's so easy to get, caught in kind of what we were talking about, like just those systems of mindless
So then the new internet is AI. I mean, I think AI will disrupt the world the same way that access to the internet did, and education too. What's your take on AI? Are you using it? Like what? And I genuinely don't know. Like, I don't know what the conversation's like at the high school. There are some educators who are like, it's the end of education. And I think those same people were saying that about the internet. Like, they'll never read a book. They won't think for themselves. They have it. And so I don't think that's not my approach. And I'm like, it's out there. It's not going away. It's too much of an efficiency. Like, it will be a part of the world. And so not having intelligent conversations around it seems wrong to me as a teacher. And so we use it, and I'll ask them, like, how are we using it? And so what's your relationship with AI and your experiences so far?
Yeah. I think similar to the internet, it's just something you have to craft an intentional relationship with, because I know some people who are like, anti-AI, like, I'll never use AI, like AI is evil and we have to stop it. But like, I think it's pretty safe to say that it's already kind of ingrained itself within our society enough that like there's no avoiding it. Like, you're going to have to deal with it.
Right.
And even if you don't personally use it, like, it's going to be ingrained with all these systems that you're going to be interacting with, and it's going to change like the fundamental DNA of, I think, a lot of infrastructures in our world. So like, now is the time to start, I think, really being conscious of how to use that in a productive and transformative way, and not just something that you're burning your critical thinking skills on by just asking, AI to do your homework or something.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because and that's my conversation with them is, how are you using it? Like, the way you're prompting it. And I think if we give enough examples of, you still have to be the expert. Like, you still have to put in the 10,000 hours to be able to use AI in its highest, best use. Like, you can't go in and ask it a dumb question and get a really great output. Like, you'll get an output, and it might be better or okay for the amount of energy you put in, but the people who are going to really excel, I think, are the creatives, and it is going to be the people who are well-versed and readers and intelligent and put in the energy and effort and utilize AI as a tool to maximize the cool, creative human thing that they were already doing. I think, and I've heard this several times, I believe it's like, your job's not going to get replaced by AI. You'll be replaced by someone doing your job that knows how to interact with AI in the most like powerful, highest, best use way. So yeah, I think you're right. Interacting with it, understanding, putting boundaries in place. How do I like still build myself out to be a creative, intelligent human that can then interact with AI? I use it. So for example, though, like, I will write the thing out, and sometimes it's even like a voice note, because I'm trying to multitask doing lots of things, and then I'll input that thing in. But the way that I was able to say it first is why the output is what it is. It's the 20 years of teaching experience. It's the like concrete examples that still has a human piece on the other side of it that I'm going to share, that if I didn't have those experiences, if I wasn't the expert, if I didn't use the terminology in the right way, it still wouldn't. It would come out fake. Like, it would come out feeling different, I think. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting journey to see what comes of it, but it's here, I think, to stay.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not. And the whole, like, it's bad for the environment, uses tons of energy. Like, there are all these things that we shouldn't ignore and should understand as we interact with it and find solutions to, I think. That's worth noting.
Yeah. It's not like AI is like some guy you can always come to and depend on. It's a language model that's basically kind of just a souped up version of Google. So like, I definitely will be using AI sometimes, but it's like, you just have to take it with a grain of salt. Like, you can't take what it's saying at face value, or really, you just have to be super skeptical and recognize it for what it is. It's just like something that's just regurgitating information, and it also has its biases of like trying to appease you and stuff.
I just think it's interesting to think about as a thought experiment, but at what point is AI regurgitating its own AI? Like, as it's creating content out the world, like, at what point is it referencing itself? That's kind of an interesting takeaway as well.
Yeah. I also I just can't think about AI too much, because it gives me a headache. Like the existential
Yeah.
questions it raises.
Well, and it's one of those like control what you can control. You know, you utilize it in the best way possible and be intentional in your thought processes, and then move on and live life with other humans. Because if you just sit around and question all the things that are broken or scary, that's a dark place to live in.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good. All right. So, I don't even have a question here, but I'm just curious what next year looks like for you.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I say that, you know, are you college? Are you applying? Are you like, what's that? What's the journey going to be?
Yeah. So I plan on going to college. I applied to a bunch of schools, and I've been getting admittance letters.
How many? Like, what's a bunch?
Okay. So basically, I know I kind of am going in undecided, but I know that I want to be in like an urban environment where there's like a lot of people and a lot of like stuff just happening, because I think that's good to challenge yourself. Like
Coming from small town Granville?
Yeah. Culturally, academically, socially. And I think that's just like the making the most out of what college can offer you.
Yeah.
So I applied to.
So diverse and even the people that you'll come
Yes.
into contact with, and the environment and the cityscape, and experiences that you can go be a part of.
Yeah.
Did you have exposure to that? I mean, I'm sure like you've gone, like, is that what kind of prompted that? Like, have you been to cities that you were like, this is amazing? That makes you then want to seek that out for college?
Yeah. I've been to a couple cities, but even like, again, going back to my band, like I'm so grateful and lucky to have this band, because we get to go to Columbus and play gigs. And I think just being in that environment had a big impact on me.
It's so close, but having a reason to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's just exciting for me. And I know that that's something I want to be a part of. And even just like the idea of it, separate from the like physical experience of like just being surrounded by a lot of people who are, sort of forward thinking, and just the idea of being in an urban environment where it's like that is good for me, I think.
So you're looking for that, and you applied to?
I applied to OSU, a couple schools in New York, and a couple schools in Chicago.
Do you visit all those places that you applied to?
Yeah, so I went and visited New York. I went and visited Fordham University and St. John's, and Fordham was like awesome. Like the campus was incredible. It's right there in the city, but it's also like the campus itself is so beautiful, and they have a campus I think in the Bronx, and then the one that's like right by the Lincoln Center, and they have like a free shuttle to get to and from. So it's amazing. That's probably my top choice right now, because I feel like if you're gonna go like out and be in a city, like that's like the most maximum version of that.
Do you do you contemplate the cost of college as you're applying to these places?
Absolutely.
For anybody thinking about applying, high schoolers, you go out of state, usually the costs can go up.
Yeah, big time. So that's like kind of what it's been narrowed down to at this point. I've got accepted to everywhere I applied. It's just a matter of whatever gives me the most. Yeah.
Congrats. You already know. And that's not a early decision. Like that's just normal, and
But it's like, it's just like, it's just however much money they give me is what I is where I'm going to go. I feel like I'm in a good spot where like most, like all the schools I applied to, I think I would be happy with.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I could only go to Fordham if they started really giving me the merit-based scholarships, which is what I'm banking on. Because ideally, I want to go to college and deal with like the most minimum amount of student debt possible. Because I just think that's kind of a nightmare.
Huge. So you say merit-based. Is that strictly based on test scores and grades, or will they look at you as a like remarkable human as a whole? Like, do they look at that you've been in plays, that you're in the band, that you have a band? Like, do they look at that whole pack for merit, or is it just grade based?
So grades and stuff like that is definitely like, I think the foundation of when they start to consider, giving you certain scholarships. But then that's when they look at like your personal essays and your activities and stuff to further determine.
And I'm glad you said, because I press upon, and it comes up in every podcast about like ROI, man, like return on investment. You really want to get into university and out as cheaply as you possibly can. And when you go out of state, typically the price does go up, but most out of state colleges, they want diversity on their campus. They want people from other places, and most of them aren't asking you to pay sticker. So don't let the sticker price necessarily stop you from applying and going to visit somewhere. Merit-based scholarship, need-based scholarship. There might be, and there usually is, some pretty good money that will come in that makes the sticker price come down quite a bit. So don't not explore it. But to your point, yes, get in and get out as cheaply as possible. You don't want to pay anything more than you have to. And they will, in sort of a predatory, I think they're maybe getting better at this, but they will try to even loan-wise give you more than you need, because they'll be like, oh, but you need money to live on, and you want to go out to eat, and so they'll give you more money on top of, and they'll defer all those loan payments until after you graduate. Like, you don't even have to pay this back yet. And so people get themselves in a big hole, and they take on way more debt. Don't take out more than you need. Live frugally. It should be a moment of your life where you're not living extravagantly, and get out with as little debt as possible. It's huge.
Yeah.
Cool. So Fordham, hopefully. That's the one that had the vibe when you walked on. You were like, this is it.
Well, to be fair, I haven't visited any of the Chicago schools yet.
Okay. I feel like they'd have a potentially similar impact, like vibe. Like,
But right now, I'd say like if cost wasn't an option or anything like that, I think that's where I'd want to go.
And undecided, is that an intentional, I'm intentionally being undecided, like I want to leave that open, or is it just I'm really not sure, like, and I want to figure that out?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm maybe leaning towards like something medical, but I don't, like, my worst fear would be like pigeonholing myself or just tunnel visioning.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm still kind of just figuring everything out as a human being in general. So it feels weird to like declare a major right now. And I think
well, good for you. Maybe even from a mindset standpoint, like obviously you could declare and then change, but there's something about not picking that maybe even leaves your mind open to possibility in a way that if you mentally had said, okay, this is what I think I'm doing, that might pigeonhole you mentally to this path. Like, it's like sounds even more, I'm open to what comes.
I I almost hope that I end up somewhere completely different than I could ever imagine to be now, because I think that's just a sign of growth as a human being and character. And that's like, I think when you're really getting the most out of life is if you're able to have a diverse set of experiences and interests that, lead you down all these different paths.
Yeah. I the word, as you did this, was popping in my head. Like, imagine if you didn't meander, like what you might miss if you're not willing to go down other paths. So yeah, that's good. All right, cool. So Fordham maybe in the medical field, and you're just waiting. Like, do they, like, there's like a month, 2 months, like they'll just get back to you at some point? Like, do you have a timeline when they'll come back with their compensation packages?
Yeah. So a lot of schools have given me like scholarship offers and stuff, which has been really nice. But yeah, I think it's like Fordham and Ohio State and maybe one or two other schools like wait. And then once like all that is laid out, then I'll have to get more proactive on, reaching out to admissions counselors and applying for other scholarships and stuff. And then it'll really, I think, make my decision more clear.
Cool. Last question. Anything else? Anything left on the table? Anything you want to offer our listeners before we turn the mics off?
I don't know. Just, take it easy. Live life. Enjoy it. You're only a kid for a little bit, and that's a really beautiful, amazing thing. So just take it all in. Do what you love. Live a life surrounded by love, people you love, people who love you. Take care of yourself. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. And you can never go wrong. Just start building a good relationship with yourself now. Introspection, I think, is really, really key and important and kind of a commodity these days, because everyone's so scatterbrained and stuff. But like, you are your most powerful, dependent person, so you need to build a good relationship with yourself. And once you do that, and you just follow what your heart is saying, that's good, you know.
I think that's a beautiful place to stop, because I see that in you, like introspection and confidence and comfortability with like who you are. I hope this sounds like a compliment because it's supposed to be. I tell my middle school students, like, don't lose your weird, because the world is waiting for your weird. Like it's why you're on the planet. Like it's what the world is going to reward you for, and whether that's relationship wise or that's financially, like the world needs the thing about you that's remarkable and different. There's this YouTube clip of this dude at a concert who's like standing there and he's like just dancing his butt off, having the time of his life, and he's all by himself, and the rest of the concert looks really boring. And then all of a sudden you see like another dude walk over, and then he's dancing, and then another people and more people. And then by the end of this clip, like it's just the whole concert has started like dancing and rocking and having this amazing, beautiful time. And that is what I see when I see you on stage. It is this like force and light and excitement and confidence that I think is infectious. And so I applaud you, and I am grateful that I get to bring my two boys into a room to see you in that energy, because I think it's like influential in a really powerful way. And when we walk away, we talk about that. I'm like, he you know, he's just like embracing life and being who he is and like having so much fun, and it's infectious. And so I'm excited for you to go out in the world and infect people with that energy and that love and light that you talked about. It's going to be a good journey.
Yeah, super honored to be on this show, and that's just very nice and thoughtful, and thank you.
Cool, man.
Yep.
Thanks.
Oh man, I am starving! Hungry! Mwahaha! I am Hunger, and I rule this domain! He will never be able to satisfy his hunger for authentic Italian pizza! Mwahaha!
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Equally fun pizza! It's both delicious and fulfilling!
That is correct, Mr. Hunger. Looks like your reign of terror is coming to a delicious tomato sauce-filled end.
Curse you, delectable slice of cheesy goodness! Man, that pizza really hit the spot.
Di Felice Brothers Pizza.
Because
Italy is too far away.
Come on down to Di Felice Brothers Pizza, located at 1976 Granville Road, Newark, Ohio, or call us at 740-326-4560 to place your order for a delicious slice of pizza pie.
As always, thank you to my guests for taking the time to sit down and share their experience with us. A shout out to Hayes Browder, my son, for creating the original audio used in this episode. A huge thank you to the Granville Education Foundation. Their hard work and grant opportunities have made this podcast space available for my students, and I am incredibly grateful. Another shout out to all my listeners. In a content-rich world, I am humbled by those who take the time to hear the reflection, introspection, and advice offered inside these recordings. I truly believe this podcast has made me a better teacher, father, and overall human being. I hope you find that to be true as well. Until next time, be kind, be grateful, be you.